There's only one word standing between you and a better future: progress. By definition, progress is a forward or onward movement towards a destination. It's clear as day that we need to progress, but have you ever taken the time to think about why it's so hard to do what we know is right? In my own life, I know that once I'm up and running, it's easy to sustain progress. 5 minutes into a workout and I can cruise for another hour. 10 minutes into a new slide deck and you can consider it finished. 2 t-shirts on hangers and the rest of my laundry will be done, no problem. If you're anything like myself, your issue isn't executing while you're in the zone. It's getting yourself into the zone. It doesn't matter how you perform 5 minutes into the workout if the friction you experienced 5 minutes prior is so severe that it prevents you from even starting. Friction is the number one thing standing in your way from the life that you desire. If you're a consistent viewer of this content, you know the life that you want to live. You have a desired destination, but you're struggling to make that forward movement to get there. I've driven myself mad watching friction unfold in my own life. I procrastinated on projects, missed opportunities to network, and continually convinced myself that it's okay to miss the gym workouts. I know that my life would be better if I persevered through the friction, but struggled for so long to determine how. After years of facing the same friction-induced problems, I decided to get serious about fixing them. I dedicated a great deal of critical thought to understanding the problem at hand. I wanted to conceptualize what adds to and reduces friction so that I could leverage these cause and effect relationships to unlock quicker and more sustainable action in my everyday life. Through my journey, I've identified 3 concepts, which when applied properly can dramatically reduce the friction that you experience every single day. Throughout the remainder of this video, I'm going to take you through how I reduce the prominence of this problem in my own life, with the hope that you can apply these principles as well. The first one is restating the problem. To dive into this concept, let's return to our problem. We need to make progress to succeed, but experience a force that prevents this progress. But what do we know about this force? What are the properties that drive its function? How does it behave over time? Through self-reflection and experimentation, I was able to derive a few insights about the behavior of friction. It was clear to me that friction dissipates through action and is the strongest prior to taking the first step. I wanted to narrow my focus on what's happening within the mind just prior to engaging in that which you know that you should do. As I analyzed my mind right before high friction activities, I started to see some commonalities. For one, it appears that friction exists on a spectrum. Essentially, it's more present in some activities, while others, it barely exists. I learned that an activity like going to the gym was easier for me to start than my college thesis. But why? Well, for starters, I was more knowledgeable with the gym than my thesis. I've gone to the gym far more times than I've written a 100-page manuscript involving complex engineering problem solving and discoveries. Because I knew what I was supposed to do, it was far easier for me to stay focused while doing it. It was obvious what I needed to accomplish in the gym, and all of my workouts were intentionally designed prior to ever stepping foot inside of the gym. Opening up a blank Word document and being told that this was a necessity to get my degree made me overwhelmed with the possibilities of where to start. In addition, I could easily convince myself to exercise because I believed I would benefit from the fruits of my labor. There was far more ambiguity with the writing and a high probability of my time being wasted as a consequence of this. On top of all of that, I also enjoyed myself far more while in the gym than writing my thesis. The gym would energize me and I would leave with an improved mood from the endorphin release. It was something aligned with my passion for improved physical health, while it was far more difficult to relate writing a thesis to any of my passions. Through my reflection, there appears to be 3 big insights which reduce friction. 1, knowledge of what needs to be accomplished will direct focus to accomplish it. 2, belief in your abilities reassures it's worth trying to accomplish what lies ahead. And 3, a connection of the activity to a passion leads to more enjoyment while engaging in said activity. No matter the activity that I analyzed, I found this to be true. I could ask myself 3 questions and gauge how much friction is to come as a consequence of my responses to them. So basically, we were able to make a function for friction. Do you know what needs to be accomplished? Do you believe that you can accomplish it and will be rewarded for doing so? Do you expect yourself to derive positive emotion from this activity? Take a moment and ask yourself these questions. Try to reflect on a project that you're struggling with and identify what is the bottleneck. Are you suffering from a lack of knowledge, belief, or passion? I was pretty proud of the insights that I derived, but didn't want to stop there. I knew that these 3 were definitely prerequisites to progress, but I was still curious about which of them was the strongest. Surely they're all important, but does one have a greater influence on friction than the others? To answer this question properly, we have to take a step back and create a framework for friction. I wanted to understand what commonalities exist between these 3 prerequisites and see if they fit into a larger problem. What I began to realize is that whenever I struggle to make progress, there are 2 obvious reasons. Either I don't know what to do, or I did know but couldn't motivate myself to do it. Not knowing what to do is a knowledge or ability problem which is fixed on focusing on the right information. If I'm having issues with my car's engine and I take it to a mechanic, they see a different world when analyzing the vehicle than I do. As I pop the hood, I see a bunch of complex machinery without knowledge of how they work together, whereas the mechanic has specific knowledge to analyze a situation and solve the problem. In order to solve a knowledge problem, you must learn from others or through experience how you should direct your focus. As mentioned previously, this is rarely the source of our problem. Every time there's a knowledge problem, you know your action should be to gather more knowledge, which gives you clear direction for your focus, and yet we still get stuck. Why do we get stuck when we know what we should do? Knowing what to do but not motivating yourself to do it can be broken down nicely into passion and belief. If you're passionate about something, there's a high probability that you can motivate yourself to do it. For instance, I'm passionate about golf, and it's quite easy to convince myself to schedule a tee time for the weekend. If you believe that you'll be rewarded for your efforts, you'll be more motivated to follow through with the action. This is not the entire story, though. Oftentimes, I still struggle to motivate myself on projects where there's high passion and belief of success. Yes, I can convince myself to schedule a tee time, but making time to go on the course and putt, one of the weakest parts of my game, has been proven to be difficult. Now, why is this, though? Well, there's a third component to motivation that we haven't talked about yet, and it relates back to focus. Even in the presence of high passion and belief, we may still struggle to initiate the action because of how our focus is scattered onto the other stimuli. At any given moment, there are thousands of activities that you can engage yourself in, all providing a varied level of reward. Anytime we have to apply effort, there's friction because of the alternative opportunities which could provide better reward, but with far less effort. Trying to convince myself to go putt at the golf course requires me to exert effort to get dressed, get in the car, drive, unload my bag, and then practice. As an alternative, I could crawl into my bed and scroll on social media. Both options provide my brain a reward, but one requires far less effort or friction to retrieve the reward. As you can see through the last couple of points that I'm making here, all friction problems lead back to the source of focus, where we choose to place our attention and how we value opportunities at our disposal. You might experience knowledge or motivation problems, but regardless of that, at the source is how we choose to direct our focus. To gain knowledge, we must direct our focus on the right information. To gain motivation, we have to convince ourselves that the direction of our focus onto a predefined goal will provide greater rewards than having our focus slip onto whatever gratifying experience is currently present and enticing. To add on to this argument, the other 2 prerequisites of progress are strengthened through focus. You'll build a stronger passion for an activity by doing it more consistently, which requires applied focus. You'll believe that you'll receive fruits of your labor if you focus consistently and apply yourself to that goal. I hope that now you're able to see that focus is the most important tool that a human really has. Unfortunately for us, our focus has been hijacked in the modern day. There are so many instant gratification opportunities at our disposal through the emergence of social media that it's hard to stay focused on our self-defined goals. It's so easy to slip into the path of least resistance and indulge ourselves into guaranteed, comfortable, gratifying experience. Social media platforms like TikTok have been destructive to our attention span, never giving us the opportunity to develop strong passions and dramatically reducing the belief in our own abilities to accomplish anything worthwhile. Fortunately, it's not all doom and gloom though. Our ability to focus can be trained and improved. I've been using a device called Focus Calm to train my ability with focus, with honestly remarkable results. By using the device for just a few minutes per day, I've been training myself in meditation and breath work to unlock higher levels of focus during my work sessions. I'm confident that this device has provided a benefit to my life and have written a full review of the product in this article that I'll link in the description. Because of the prioritization of focus training in my own life, It's been far easier to engage in the things that I'm passionate about. By engaging in these passions, I also believe that my ability to focus has improved through the nature of positive feedback loops. To reduce the complexity of the technological mumbo-jumbo stuff, being engaged in an activity that's connected to your passion causes for the release of more feel-good chemicals in your brain, which promote a deeper focus. Essentially, if you convince yourself that an activity is worth pursuing and is in alignment with your passions, you'll benefit from that activity's ability to promote a higher level of concentration. To reiterate, you must train your ability to focus enough to block out the distractions of inferior experiences, such as scrolling through social media, so that you can narrow your focus to a superior experience, one that's in alignment with your passions. In doing so, you'll continue to improve your ability to concentrate through the nature of the positive feedback loop of the passion-fueled experience. Take a moment to let that sink in and recognize how powerful this is. This is a super valuable concept that's worked super well for me. I know that this video was kind of a lot, but let's recap the most important points so that you can begin to put them into practice. For one, we get stuck when working on our goals because of the presence of friction. Through my analysis of the friction problem, I was able to find 3 concepts that must be optimized in order to make progress. These prerequisites are focus, belief, and passion. Of these 3, focus is by far the strongest and will positively influence the development of the other 2 through consistent training of narrowing your focus from inferior distractions. All 3 of these concepts work together in a balance though, with more passion and belief making it easier to focus. In essence, you must evaluate the presence of these 3 topics the next time you experience interference between you and your goal. Self-reflect on what it is that you're suffering from and how you can reframe your perspective to drive more focus and break through the obstacles that lie ahead. I challenge you to start using this today as fast as possible so that you can start overcoming these friction obstacles. If it helps, make sure to like and subscribe and comment below what you think, if there's any additions that you wanted to make or there's any modifications that you wanted to note about the framework. Thanks a lot for watching.